Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Years ago, I was in a conversation with one of our members. He's a sharp guy, driven, doing all the right things on paper. But every time he talked about his business, he'd say things like, I'm trying to grow. I hope this works. I just need a break, or I just need a few breaks. I mean, there were just a lot of things that he was saying. And I was thinking to myself at the time, is like, there's really nothing wrong with his strategy, but to me, it feels off. And then fast forward a few months, and not much had changed. Same effort, same frustration, but for him at least. But one day, almost casually, he said something different. This is what I'm going to do. This is who I help. This is working. And nothing about his business had changed, certainly not overnight, but something had changed about him. It was like something pushed the cart uphill, and then all of a sudden the car's rolling downhill for him. And it got me thinking, what if the difference wasn't effort? What if the difference was language? Not just what he said out loud, but what he was saying to himself all along, what he was saying to him in those quiet moments, driving to meetings. And that's where today's conversation is going to begin. Today I'm joined by Laura Berkey. She's a thought, behavior, and communication coach with nearly 30 years of experience. She works at the intersection of language, energy, and human behavior, helping people understand how words they use shape not only their communication, but their internal state and the results that they get. She specializes in uncovering the subtle language patterns that either create clarity and momentum or quietly keep people stuck. And we spoke yesterday, kind of prepping for this, and she caught me on a couple things that some were good, some were bad. But her work helps individuals align their thinking, feeling, and speaking so life starts moving with them instead of against them. Laura, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. Nice to be here.
So let's start here. When you say that words are signals that shape our energy and results, what does that really mean in practical everyday life? I mean, I know you have a plethora of examples. Hit us, please.
Words are signals. Let me start with this, and it actually goes really well with your opening story. So the body follows the mind. The body follows the mind. So when somebody says, like the gentleman you referred to, I'm really trying to do this, the body's message or signal, because the signal is just communication. The signal is, we're just to try. And try is a verb. And the actual definition of try is to attempt. It's not to do. It's not to complete. It's to attempt. So that, like the energy, anyone who, even says like, yeah, I'm going to try to lose weight. I'm going to try to get up at 5 and go running. They already feel there's a hesitancy in their energetic body. We are energy. So that's the feeling that produces actually is not a go get 'em. It's a like hang in the balance because the message or the signal was just try.
Yeah.
And it's emotionally, psychologically, when you say try, you're giving yourself an out. You're just absolutely not committed when you say, I'll try to call you this weekend. You've given yourself the out. And so that means something.
No, it absolutely does. A bunch of thoughts go into my head of the Yoda saying that do or don't, there is no try, I think is what it is, something like that,
yes.
Which resonates with me. One of the things I will say to our chapters, people in our chapters, our franchisees, my kids, I always say, and my kids know what's coming now, but 3 birds are on a wire, 2 decide to leave. How many are left? And most people will say, well, just 1. It's like, no, there's still 3 because deciding is not doing. You haven't taken action. So I don't want to hear that you decided. I don't want to hear that you're trying. I want to hear that you did it. Tell me you did it. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Do it.
Yeah.
And and I guess I catch myself in those moments. Is that okay when hey, I'm going to try to do this? It's like, no, I'm going to do it.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because it's very important that anyone who hears my name and what I do, they understand I'm not telling people here's how you have to talk and you cannot use these words. What I'm doing is pointing out words are causal. So that means there is a consequence. There's a cause that the word is the cause, and there's going to be a consequence or an effect to the use of that word. So as long as you've got your wits about you and you are kind of lucid and awake to this. So trying isn't doing, but there are so many other times in a day where you are going to use the word try, and it's the best and most perfect word to use. I tried to open that pickle jar that you left on the counter this morning. Yeah. I just can't open it either. Or, hey, when you try to get into our rental property, you're going to have to jiggle the key a little bit. So it's okay to use the word try, but specifically when you are, for those people who are like, I'm trying to build something. I just use try. I'm building something. I'm pursuing a certain experience in my life. You want to be very clear. You might even start with try. I'm trying to build a business, and then realize, because you'll feel it immediately. Your body responds to it. Okay, wait a second. Let me put that aside. I am building a business.
Right.
Okay. And then let me say something about the Yoda quote, because a lot of people, I love words, and they have quotes and they say this or whatever, and everybody knows the Yoda quote. And here's where I just want to make this point. Some people will read the Yoda quote, no try, because Yoda said do or do not, and then they're done. They dust their hands off and they think they got it. But it's like, no, here's the quality of that quote. There is no try. Trying isn't doing. And I like to say to people, if I told you yesterday I was playing pickleball, what was I doing yesterday, Frank?
You were playing pickleball.
Yeah. And if I tell you tomorrow I'm going to bake bread, what am I doing tomorrow?
You're going to make bread.
Yeah. And if I tell you after this interview, I'm going to go try, I'll be trying for the afternoon. What am I doing? What am I actually doing?
I don't really know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But trying is its own thing. And I think if you just listen to feel your body, it feels, it's almost like holding your breath, sucking in and holding your breath at the same. That's what trying feels like. So when Yoda says, here's the quality of it, do or do not. So it's totally okay for me to say, I am not baking bread tomorrow. I thought I wanted to, but you know what? I'm not, versus I'm going to try. I don't really feel like I want to now, but I'm going to try to bake bread. There's so much freedom when you say, I am not going to. The body is completely in alignment. It's open. It's relaxed. It's like, I get the day to do what I want to do differently now. But if I say, well, I'm going to try, I don't really want to, but I'm going to try, that I'm now swimming in that energy. While I try to go do other things and enjoy it, but I got this hanging over my head. But the bread.
Are we talking sourdough here?
Yeah, we're talking sourdough.
Yeah, so my wife's really into it too. I was like, did my wife put you up to this? Because that's all she talks about anymore.
She may have. Yep. But anyway, so that's the quality of it, is you're freeing up your energy, which is all that we are, when you remove that word. And just know that. And go ahead and use it if you want. And if you notice, because all my clients are like this, when they ever use it, they're like, oops. And I'm like, well, you didn't make a mistake. You caught yourself. Yeah. You're on notice. Yeah. Very good. And then now be more deliberate and conscious of the word you are going to use here, because the body will follow that. Follows everything.
The distinction I draw from this is, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to try and do it under 4 hours, right? So there's results. I'm going to run a marathon. Or back to your bread thing. I'm going to, I'm going to make bread. I'm going to try to make it my best loaf ever. Yeah. Right. So you have no control over the results, but you have control over whether you undertake the action or don't. So,
yeah, I still wouldn't use try. And here's why. Before our interview, because I talk so fast, I could have said, I'm going to try to talk slow. But I didn't say that because I know that now I've got that energy of try, and that is like holding your breath and sucking in. That's just not your natural state.
Yeah.
So trying removes you from that. So then I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? I know my stuff, and and the thing I did say was, don't try to overshare, just share what you know. Instead of saying to try to speak slow. So just totally change the words
Laura,
to get the effect I wanted.
Yeah, be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The show I released today, I was sharing with you about the Dartmouth SCAR experiment. I fessed up. I say a lot. And I used to try and cut it out of all the episodes so I would sound cleaner. And people were like, well, that's who you are. You just say a lot. It's like, oh, okay. So you talking fast, that's just who you are. And so if you talk slow, we wouldn't get as much. So anyhow. So
I agree.
What are some of the most common language patterns you hear that quietly keep people stuck? You know, even when you got clients when they're trying to work hard at something. I think try is one of those, but what are some others?
So a word that people would be so happy to know about is the word want. Now, we have wanted our whole lives. We are here to want, in fact, in a way. And now, not the way people think the word is defined, we're here to want. But the word want, in its origin, literally is defined as lack and deficiency. So when back long ago, to use the word want was to message and communicate, there's a lack, there's a deficiency. So if I go into my garage and go, oh, I want a Corvette. I want a Audi. That's what I want. I don't want a Corvette. I want an Audi.
Okay.
For me to look at my garage and go, oh, I really want an Audi. All I've messaged now energetically, and the body follows the mind, is all I did is went to my garage and said, I don't have an Audi. It's the equivalent. You are in the exact same place of saying, I want something versus saying I don't have it, because they really are energetically equivalent. So want is really a word you'll say it because it's so baked in. So we are going to say it, but it is a word that when you notice that you said that you, especially if it's something that you are black and white, clear and certain that you want. Because you can also use it when you're like dreaming and thinking, well, what do I want to do for vacation? I kind of want to be by the water and I'd like some sun and I really want some, that's okay. And again, you can use these words, but when you are in hot pursuit for something, know this word's place. It's not there. So what's the replacement? The replacement is, so I would like to write a book. Okay, that's something. So notice I didn't say want. I actually don't have a book. I'm in the process of writing my book. But now pay attention, even think of your own thing when you hear me say this. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, I can say, I'm interested in writing a book, which I did. This is what I did many months back, where I'm like, okay, want keeps me in place and it keeps me in lack. I don't have a book. I'm not doing anything about a damn book. But then I'm like, okay, but I'm interested in writing a book. Interested is different than ready. Interested is, I wasn't ready back then. I just knew I want to do it. So it's better to say I'm interested because there's energy and interest. You lean forward. And that's where you want to go, forward. And then there was a point where after I was doing research and I was talking, I was telling more people about this and I was just, using this information and people were responding well to it. Then the day came and I said, I am ready to write a book. And guess what happens when you're ready? You're gone. And so so let me just show you visually. Unfortunately, the listeners won't get to hear this, but they'll have to use their creative mind. So imagine like a little cartoon baby character, like a little baby in diapers, like line drawing. That is what want looks like. Wah, wah, which literally W-A, wah, want. That's the beginning of want. It's like crying. I want, I don't have, I want, right? So that when you say want, you're basically just a toddler sitting on the floor having a tantrum. You're not accomplishing anything. Interested is always like this. Whatever. Let me tell you how to make a lot of money. What? Let me tell you how to get people to really, trust you and admire you. What? You'll lean in. So you're going, at least you're going in the direction of something, right?
Right.
And here's what ready looks like. You're going. I'm ready to go. Ready to go to the grocery store. Ready to write the book. Ready to make the call. You are in motion. You're gone.
Interesting. How does someone begin to notice and shift their inner language? You know, the stuff they keep saying to themselves. We're such a product of our environment. We're a product of our family. So if you have a family that's, you know, I want this, I want that, I'm trying, don't get your hopes up, kind of how do you break that?
Okay, so the most important thing, and I wish everybody would wear this on their t-shirt today, just wear the shirt, like the concert tee, wear the shirt, know thyself. Know thyself. Knowing is in the body. Whose body? Your body. Okay. You know Frank better than anybody knows Frank. You are the authority of Frank. So certainly at this point in your life, but I think this would be great for, you know, probably, let's just say 18 and older, because there is developmental time, you know, where young kids haven't matured and seasoned and had enough experience to really know what they're good for, what they like, what they don't. But knowing thyself is where it begins. So everybody is largely, the collective believes that success is having wealth, having status, and having influence. Most people think that's the definition of success. But no, that's somebody's definition, and many people have taken that on. But it's not actually the definition of success. It's just what some people want. Some people don't want notoriety. They don't want to be an influencer. They don't want a whole lot of wealth. They want a quiet existence. They want, you know what I'm saying? Relationships are what's important to them. So knowing thyself is the most important thing. That's the biggest shift is, okay, I know mom and dad said that. I know that's what all my friends are going for, but what do I really desire? What's really the thing that lights me up the most? So that's a fundamental shift. And the second one is, and I've already mentioned it here, is the body follows the mind. So pay attention when you say something, and I'm talking mostly your inner dialogue, your self-talk. When you're brushing your teeth, when you're driving home from work or to work, or you have an exchange with your kid or your wife, and you walk upstairs or downstairs to another room and you start saying some things, you know, as your post conversation with yourself about that or whatever. Pay attention to when you're speaking, how is the body responding to that? How is the body? Is it feeling agitated? Is it feeling inflamed? Or is it feeling, does it open up? Does it relax or calm? That is your greatest indicator of what needs to shift. And I'm going to tell you this story because this story happened, let's see, back in, when was this? This was 1993. Long time ago. And I had been in the industry of radio and television. That's what I did right out of college. And I was so excited. It's what I wanted to do as a little girl. I went to school, studied it, got to Chicago, and I got into the industry. And then after a little while, I'm like, this just isn't me. Like, I thought this was my dream. I thought this is what I wanted, but it just wasn't. And so left that experience. Now I'm out on the street and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not prepared for anything else. I didn't study anything else. I don't really know what kind of job to go for now. So I basically U-turned, went to my old boss in radio and said, could you set up some interviews out in California for me, you know, in the industry? I mean, crazy. I literally just love this, but I deluded myself or I abandoned myself. Mm-hmm. So he sets me up a bunch of interviews from San Francisco to LA, record labels, radio stations. And so one interview was up in San Francisco, and it was the National Broadcasting Association. And the guy who runs that was looking for an assistant. So we meet and we sit on this park bench outside of the office building. It was a beautiful day. And he's like asking me questions like, so tell me why, you know, what's your interest in radio and why are you coming out to California? And ask me all these questions to get a feel for, would I be a good hire for him? And every question I answered, I don't even know what I said. To my ears, it sounded like jumbled up mess, but my face, you know, Jim Carrey in The Mask, or Jim Carrey anytime, and how he can make his face. I felt my face doing that. My face was literally, the muscles of my face were moving around. And I'm like, this guy, because my body knew everything I was saying, I was lying. And the body cannot lie. The head is a hustler, the body can't. So the head can. The head can do a whole bunch of stuff, but the body cannot. And so my body, as I was saying things that were not true, my body was reacting. And of course I didn't get the job. I think the guy looked at me and thought, what is it? He just see, this isn't true. So You are the authority of you. Know yourself. And the body follows the mind. Pay attention to how you feel when you use words.
You talk about bringing thinking, feeling, speaking into coherence, I think is the word you use.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What does that look like when it's working, and how does someone know when it's not? I guess maybe your park bench is a great example of it. And I'm thinking about myself, my experiences too, where I'm off on interviews and it's like, I just want to have a job. That's all I want to have is a job. And I'm just going to say what I need to have to say, but not really kind of being passionate about whatever.
Yeah. So coherence and alignment, I'm going to kind of interchange those, even though they're not exactly the same thing. But so coherence is when two things are coherent, which means there's comprehension, there's understanding, there's compatibility. That's what I would say coherence is. And alignment is, look at architecture. Alignment is structural. It's important. And alignment, when you look at the etymology, is like taking a string and making it taut. It's taut. It's solid. So within yourself, so if your thoughts, what you're thinking, and then touch your heart, what your heart is, what you feel. Let's just say this. Your heart really tells you what matters. Okay. What you value. That's what it's speaking. That's its brain is what really matters to Frank. Your head is how are we going to get this stuff done? Right. And your gut is, we ain't lying here. The gut doesn't lie, energy doesn't lie. So the gut, when all three of those, so let's just say somebody brings a brand new opportunity to you, and it's a pretty big one, and it would require a lot of shifting your focus from what you're doing now to something else. If you would know you're in alignment if you're like, mostly your body goes first. Your gut's like, God, this adds up. This makes so much sense. And your heart's like, this would allow us to do this that we've wanted to be doing all along, or it's just going to add on, and help us perpetuate more of what we're doing. And then the head's like, dudes, guys, that makes totally sense. Let's go. That is how you would know you're in alignment. You're in alignment when you go to the grocery store because you were in the mood for broccoli and steak for dinner. And you went to the grocery store, you got the broccoli, you got the steak, you got into the line, you paid for it, you got home and you cooked it. That's an experience of alignment. So it's just when really all three intelligent systems of you are working together. And it flows. When you are there, it's like, God, I go, I come, I went, I did, and here we go. Here's the finished product.
But there's a lot to this. There's a lot of technical stuff here. You and I spoke yesterday. You picked up on things I said that I wouldn't have noticed. So what I want to do is, people listening today, what's the one small change they can make how they use their language that would create some, not immediate change, but just some momentum, getting them set in the right direction?
Gosh, there's so much. So one thing that they can say to themselves.
Just one simple change. Is there maybe writing things down, or affirmations? I'm going to offer two things. Two things that I think are the best thing somebody could do starting right now. One is get a piece of paper out and you write your own definition of what success is. Okay. I struggled for years because I was operating under this collective idea of a definition of success, which is money and, all this stuff, status and great influence. And I killed myself on that. And I never, ever really achieved it. One, because I didn't even want some of those things I don't even want, really. And so I said, okay, Laura, so how would you know if you were successful? And even if you had all the money that you want to have and the influence you want to have, what would life be like as that success? And here's what I said. I said, if I actually had those things, here's what I would feel that I was successful. I can do what I want, whenever I want, the way I want. And I'm like, that's my definite. If my life is that, then I'm a success. And I wrote that down. There it is. Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Then I had to change it. And I leave this so it reminds me, because we have to recondition. And then I've lived that now for 15 years. Recently I had to change my definition because I totally have that in spades.
Right.
So I had to up the ante for myself. So now my definition of success is this: as long as whatever I'm doing has purpose, I have fulfillment and joy in doing it, I am successful. So that is my definition of success. Not a car, not money. It doesn't mean people can't have that. As you evolve, your definition of success should evolve, and you should have your own personal definition, not a dictionary definition or your neighbor to the left or right, their definition. It should be yours. Okay. That's the first thing. And the second thing is definition of success, and I'm just going to go with the know thyself thing. Everybody today should say, I am the authority of myself, because so many people are looking outside of themselves for the way, the answers, the how to. And it doesn't mean there aren't resources out there that you are going to use, but you should always start with, I am the authority of me. I know me better than anybody. And so start there with then what it is you decide you're going to pursue or not pursue. And don't worry about what other people are going to think. I already talked about that. Don't worry about what other people, and don't worry about what other people are doing. One life is enough to take care of in this lifetime, right? It's complex. So don't try to attach yours to somebody else's. I'm going to take care of mine. So those are the two things I'd say. Start with that.
All right, people listening today, they want to get a hold of you. You coach, you speak. How can they get a hold of you? How can they help you? Those would be some great things I know people are going to want to know.
Great. So if you're a manager of a team and you have a hard time motivating them and keeping them on track, and you don't even feel like that's not my job, I don't want to do that, reach out to me. Let me talk to your team. These words would absolutely help a team really, each member, become more fortified and just much more functional, because they're using their own self-talk to motivate and keep themselves organized and directed in their goals. Another way is to reach out on my website and sign up for a word audit. Have a 25-minute to 40-minute conversation with me where I just listen to what you've been pursuing, what you're trying to accomplish, and I will show you just in how you answer questions. Here are some words that if just slightly we adjust or modify them to something else, you'll feel completely different and have a very different energy about you, because again, the body follows the mind. You're just going to strengthen the energy field that you are. And then of course, attend my Word Up Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of every month. It's a free gathering for people who like words and who are into this kind of stuff. Come, and I always highlight a single word where once you understand this word deeper, you can't unknow it, you can't forget it. It's like now I'm even more fortified.
And this is all on LauraBerkeyCoaching.com.
That's right, LauraBerkeyCoaching.com.
I'll get that all in the show notes. Well, I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Frank.
It was great to have Laura on the program. But let's go back. Let's come back to that member I mentioned in the beginning, kind of tie this all together. Same person, same business, same opportunities, but they were on a completely different trajectory. Why? Because somewhere along the lines, this particular person stopped saying, I'm trying, I hope, I need a break, and started to speak with clarity, with ownership, with alignment. It wasn't louder, it wasn't flashier, it was just truer. And here's the thing, this is where it gets real for everyone listening. Your words are not just describing your world, they're organizing it. They're either building a bridge or quietly putting up a wall. Only three reasons you're not getting results, not referrals, but results. The results you want is you're not saying the right things, you're not saying them to the right people, or you're not saying them in the right way. And today we hit that third one. So here's your takeaway. Start listening to yourself, or better yet, reach out to Laura, but start listening to yourself. Not just what you say out loud, but what you say inside, what you say to yourself in the quiet moments when you're driving around. Because when your words line up, when your thinking, feeling, and speaking are in sync, life doesn't feel like a grind. It starts to move with you.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connections. All rights reserved.